sleeve, the tuck strap.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, he told me.
No.
He said you or somebody was acting like stupid. What are you up to? Anything good going on?
Just working. I finished my lesson plans for the rest of the year.
There you go.
So, there's that.
Now, does your class, like, do they get out earlier than, say, like, the high school students? Or? Okay.
Except for the seniors. They're getting out at the same time as the seniors.
So what would you guys do after you taught everything? What are you going to do?
Well, I've got like 2 units left. I'm doing like a little like sports history in both of my history classes because I'm like, just talk about something I know about.
Yeah.
And I got to do final exams because I want my kids to do projects, but they want to. So and I got to make like a 30-question final that I don't want to make. Probably.
You get a question every single
Yeah, they're gonna riot. I do open notebook quiz tests, but if they fail, that's on them. Yeah, but I can justify them failing by saying I literally spoon feed it to them.
Give an open
I do whatever I want.
No final proof you're doing your research. Well, what is like the final exam? What does it mean?
Well, I'm gonna do my final exam by the second half of the year because I did an intern exam right before Christmas break.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mapped it out that way. Makes sense. The kids are always on their worst when they come back from vacation, so I'm prepping them for a test the week after vacation is not going to So, I was like, you do it before, let them, run off into the sunset.
It's the only time you can drink on the mic.
So I think I need you for not next week, the 22nd. Wait, is it when was the basketball banquet? The 21st, right?
21st.
So the 22nd is senior night. Can you announce?
Yeah.
Or which sport is for baseball?
Yes. Francis reached out to me.
Oh, he
today.
did. Oh, perfect. Okay, good.
Hey, you got like a good AI thing over there that's doing the lineup. That's
You know
good
what
over
though?
there.
She signed up for that. It's a lot of money. So she sent it to. It's like a legit MLB. One of the announcers.
Yeah.
She sends it, and then she gives them the name of the song. They do it all, and then they send it back to her. But it was like $100-something.
Yeah, I think that's the guy that does the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's the same guy. It sounds just like him.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah.
Wait, did it come out good?
It does sound really good. I mean, it's tough to do.
The umpire didn't like our Jeopardy song today. He said sometimes.
Better than Three Blind Mice.
But you know what? We do that in every game, so it wasn't any. And even when we're thinking or we're at the plate, we do it. So it wasn't to offend anybody. Just
Yeah, no. When it comes playoff time, I'll probably handle all the PA for the visiting and the home.
Okay, good. Yeah, she did it. But so all right, he reached out to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, do play-by-play. I'm gonna do PA. No, it's like it's on that one.
Hey everybody!
Is that work? Hey, at least it's working. Matt, did you get your lawn sign yet? Are you going to get those champion lawn signs? They're at a good price. They're $20. I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah.
You have to get updated.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Any updates that are on
feel about it? Not bad, not bad. Hi, Mari. Oh, yeah. We're here. Audio's back on. Hey Mari, if you can hear us, can you tell Jason to tell your Ashley that she should be calling about doing a hissy fit? I just meant if you whisper on, everybody can hear you, all three. All three. All three. Yes. All four of you.
Sorry to bounce over. You can Brian Pacheco's in the house.
What's going on, guys?
How's it going?
What's up?
Oh, Keegan's here.
Colten's on his way. What's up, Keegan?
How's it going?
Colten's
Oh boy, it's the blue man. What's going on?
Keegan's the first one.
You be quiet for training. I'll have now.
Open leg training. Carter and I are going to try and get the felder and mask.
Good luck.
Turn the camera now.
We're going to turn the camera back.
You guys were trailing too many times. Too many comebacks.
We should do a whole segment on that where we try to get that'd be a good segment.
I would love to watch. No, do it.
Want to?
I thought that was going to happen again. How's it going, Logan? Good. Yep, we're live tonight.
We're live right now.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Hop on.
Yeah, I'll hop on.
I'd be down for that.
Taking Colten down tomorrow, or Logan and cross country.
Get some off.
I saw Keegan.
No, Keegan too. Yeah.
I'll see you guys. I'll come back.
Cool.
Alright, see you.
Anybody comment? How long did it take you to get here?
You have a slideshow?
Apparently you guys love Sam from
It's like if we watch you guys for us, I was invited on Steve. My wife works at Will.
He hired me, yes, not long ago. Yeah, no, yep. I taught, I was a special ed teacher, and I took third grade, and now I'm Title I. So, I don't know. Hi. I'm ready. Hi, Colten. Sienna, we're on the Berkley Middle School. I have a new one.
I was looking around. I picked up my head and I just seen the car.
Ben, how's it going, Ben? In terms of I'd rather the people come on in Mrs. Peckham here? No, she's like, take the time to rest. You should watch it. I'll text her, I'll tell you guys. Yeah. Because she was back and forth. Like, I'm so sweet. Oh my God, she's resting.
We just got the celebrity autograph.
Just stay right there. I'll tell you what to do, okay?
All right, everyone, welcome inside the AGOROS restaurant in Somerset, Mass. for our coverage of the 2025 Somerset Berkley Boys Basketball Champions Night. We are going to have a lot of people walking through to meet and greet with the players, the coaches, and even to take pictures with the state championship trophy. We have a couple of us behind the table right now. Do we want to go down the line and introduce ourselves?
I'm Carter Silvia.
JJ Silvia.
And I'm Keegan Hamblett, and we have our camera operators, Ashley Souza and Matt Carptenter, on the side of us. I said we would open up the discussion whichever way we want to. You guys got a topic we want to start out with first? We'll go with anything, and we'll kind of roll it off from there.
I wanted to talk about how just how they got to the state championship in general. I mean, it was definitely an impressive run and definitely some adversity for a team that went 19-1 in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, it was really impressive just to be a part of this entire experience. I mean, Keegan and Carter, I know you guys both feel the same way. It's one of those really special moments that not only can bring a school community together, but can bring a town together too. Like, look at it, the event hasn't even, gotten underway very much yet, and, there's a bunch of people already here. The environment's good. This is the stuff that, a lot of athletes dream of, being able to make this type of impact, even on a local level. It's an impressive feat, and, I'm happy for the boys.
Now, we've been very lucky here at Somerset Berkley to have 5 state championships in the last 10 years. You guys talked about the impact. I don't know if any of those other champions had more of an impact on the community than this one, because you've seen everybody go up to the games, and they've overflown some games sometimes. People had to go up on the walking track to watch it, and all the people that traveled to even Pope Francis, it sounded like it was a home game for us in that gym, and the way they traveled from there, UMass Boston, UMass Lowell. I think it just showed how this community bonded together so much more.
Yeah, Keegan, for sure. And we've seen the field hockey team win twice before in 18 and 19, which is, don't get me wrong, their championship was very impressive. Once again, a D2 state championship, but the basketball team, we haven't seen it in our lifetimes. So just to be a part of it's been really incredible.
Yeah, we have not seen it in our lifetimes. I'm never going to get over how badly I botched the ending call of that game. First and foremost, I don't want to talk too much about myself. That was one of the best basketball games I've ever been a part of. Incredible, back and forth, great comeback by the Raiders, but my goodness, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I said what I said. I started with, I think it was for the first time since 1970-something, and then at the end, I said something completely different. I think it was like 70... or I don't know, but the point being is I just, that game will always have a sour taste for me as a broadcaster. As a fan, I'll always remember it positively, but I don't know. Carter did a good job in that game, though. You really did. That was, in my opinion, your best color game up until that point.
Yeah, no, I want to bring up Carter, you doing the color commentary this year. This was kind of like your first go-around, maybe with being with the team kind of like full-time. You did a couple football games, you did 2 of them, but this was your first go-around with doing multiple games throughout the season. You connected with the players, studied and prepped for the opponents too, and from October up until now, but we'll say March for the basketball season, I think JJ and I have seen tremendous improvement in your skill. What was this experience like covering the team throughout this year?
Yeah, it's definitely been a memorable time for me in my life. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life really before the basketball season, and I found something I really enjoyed, and it's definitely been a great experience. And I've always been a stats guy. I've always liked just looking up stats. I mean, it's just, even when I'm bored on a random day, I'll just look up some random football player's stats. So it was good to express just to show my knowledge to the public, and people know that I'm capable of doing what I can do.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time, Carter, that you ever tried broadcasting at all. Do you remember it? He was like, 12, 13 years old? This was at a Bruins alumni game event that the company that my father works for, Homes for Our Troops, I'm repping a hat for that tonight. Free plug for Homes for Our Troops on Keegan Hamblett Broadcasting. But you know, it's been incredible to watch Carter just develop the way he has. It's been an absolute gift. The kid's really got a knack for it. He really does.
Well, that's how you get better. It's just by practicing, and doing something, like you said, with the alumni games. And I got advice from my teacher, like the best way to get better, improve your voice, and like you're speaking to a crowd, talk in front of a mirror, because you're looking back at somebody. That's a crowd. Now, it might be yourself, and you might be like, oh, a little spooked out by what you see in the mirror. But it's all about getting better and improving, because you don't want to go up and be the best right away and then not improve from there. You want to see a steady incline over time. We talked about starting with the playoff run, maybe going to the regular season run. It could even go back to last year when the team made the Final Four, but was there ever a point in the season that you thought to yourselves, okay, this team is special, this team has the chance to do something really special for our community?
I think the first game, I'm going to say the playoffs, was that Leominster game. I mean, that Leominster game was incredible. I mean, the energy in there was just because of Osiris Lopez, obviously the 3-star, probably soon to be 4-star quarterback for Leominster. I've watched his film. It's pretty incredible to watch, but he's just how they had a fat head carved out of his face, and they were showing it in the crowd. It was
I remember that.
It almost just felt like a Division I college basketball game, like the national championship. Like it was something I've never really seen before.
Yeah, I have to agree with Carter. Those types of games where, you know, while I was off at college, I didn't have enough opportunities to come back and kind of see how the sports culture has evolved here in this town. And just seeing over the last couple of years the crowd sizes and the environments in the building I remember, I believe it was Mansfield last year we hosted, and I think it was the Elite Eight. That was, in my opinion, the biggest crowd for a high school game that I've ever seen. And it's amazing to me just how much the community comes out and how much draw there is for this team. Not only last year, but this year as well. I mean, we can talk about the UMass Boston game, the Final Four against Masconomet. That building was 75% full when we were there. And that was before you even account the fact that, you know, there were other teams' fans showing up for the game after that. So it really is incredible.
Yeah, now you had it right. The crowd for Mansfield, the Elite Eight game last year, that was the biggest crowd for any event. That includes football, too, for a home Somerset game in the Somerset Berkley era. So that's since 2014. Comparing the round of 32s from last year to this year, it was Burncoat last year, and it was Minnechaug this year. The crowd sizes weren't even close. It was easily 200, 300 more fans this year. Now, this team, they had a lot of seniors. Colten Pacheco, one of the juniors, is not going to be coming back next year. Where does this team go from here going into next year? You've got a JV side that seems to perform day in, day out, season in, season out. Who are some of these guys, Carter, that maybe on the JV side that we could look forward to see making another huge impact?
I mean, I was actually lucky to see a couple of the JV games, me and you, Keegan, and JJ, when we come early before the varsity games, and I saw a lot of talent on that JV team. I'm going to point out a couple notables. Owen Lambert, Jr., he was very capable of being at the varsity level. He just didn't play basketball last season. And also Carson Crisafoli, which was I heard Coach Slater was very high on him, just because of he's a young guard, small, but what I've seen from him, just very shifty and a lot of quickness. So I think the team's going to be underrated. I think they're going to be coming in, people thinking they're not going to be doing as well. I think they're going to have a good season.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Carter's got a lot more of the expertise in that area, but I will tell you something, Keegan. I do see a big season coming next year out of Caden Rayum. I'm not going to lie. I saw a lot of upside from him, especially from the perimeter and his ability to guard on the inside, usually in the paint. I could see him being, you know, one of those guys that plays a majority of the game next year. We know Bob Slater likes to rely on some of those more Iron Man type players, so I could see Rayum stepping into that role nicely, maybe at the 2.
I believe it was 2 years ago now where JV had the undefeated season. You still got some of those guys that were a part of that team that are going to be at the high school next year. And you can only imagine that there's going to be added pressure on them. You've got to live up to the expectations. You got to be able to handle that pressure, because Somerset's a town, like, we expect big things from our athletic programs. We want winning. We want state championships. Now, it's not going to happen every day like it has in the last 10 years, but we expect big things, and we want to see our team succeed.
Yeah, Keegan, I definitely want to touch upon the excellence of Somerset Berkley athletics. I mean, obviously the hockey team that I'm a part of, we made it to the Final Four last season. First time we ever even made it past the Elite Eight. Yeah. So it was definitely a great achievement for us. And the field hockey team winning, 3 state championships in the past, 3 in 7 years, that's an incredible feat that we won't see for a long time. And also wanted the baseball team's they've been having some good regular seasons in there, just not really progressing in the state tournament as well as the other athletic programs.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of just athletic excellence that I think even started as far back as, before I was even in high school. You have to think about the fact that there has been a culture building here for a while. Look at, the work that's been put in by guys like Bob Slater, guys like Kevin Snyder. These types of guys set the tone for, a legacy that lives long after them in terms of how much excellence is expected, like you were saying. So I honestly wouldn't even be so worried about whether or not we see more of this success in the future, because based on what I've seen, the skill is always going to be there. We have great youth programs in this town and in the surrounding towns as well. Lots of ways for kids to get involved in sports at a young age and develop the skills that they need to, have success at the high school level.
Well, it's something that doesn't happen every day around here. We're all taking it in tonight, and we're going to let you at home take it all in too. We're going to take about a 2-minute break. We'll be right back in just a second. Just as a reminder, anybody watching on the live stream, we'll all be here at AGOROS in Somerset until about 8:30 tonight. Comment section on the live stream is open. If you want to ask any of us some questions, we'll get to your comments in just a little bit. Keep it here. All right, everyone, welcome back inside the AGOROS restaurant in Somerset. We're going to have the first of what we hope to be many guest interviews tonight. He was our camera operator for the Elite Eight and Final Four games throughout the basketball run. You've probably seen him not just at basketball, but hockey, all the other sporting events we have going on. It's Matt Carpenter. Matt, thank you for joining us. How's everything been going lately?
It's been going good. Just anxious to get back to basketball season next year, and hopefully they can run it back.
Now, you filmed 2 of the 3 biggest games throughout the playoffs. What did it mean to have just the tiniest of roles? Because you remember that Elite 8 live stream. We had 350 people watching. They had a watch party at one of the other restaurants in Somerset as well. What did it mean to help get the broadcast out there?
It's honestly, it's unreal to help get the broadcasts over the air for probably the 2 out of 3 biggest games in probably this team's history, honestly, and yeah, it's just an honor.
And Matt, I just want to see what your perspective is on this team's success, because obviously we've discussed our opinions and said what we thought about it, and I just want to hear yours as the cameraman.
Yeah, it's like I said, this team's one of a kind. It's probably got to go back to the game at Dighton Rehoboth with that double OT. Finn hitting the absolute big shot of a 3 to tie it, to go into the second, and this team has just been cruising. Besides maybe the Bourne game where they Bourne put up a little fight, but no cigar.
Matt, we're all talking about camera work right now. Here's what I want to know. What would you say is your favorite off-camera moment from this season? Because you've gotten to hang out with Carter and I hang out with Keegan. What's been your favorite moment off-camera?
Probably I would probably say the Sweet 16 game against Leominster.
Yeah, that really was a good one. We were all getting really fired up for that one. I remember. Carter, was that the one where we did the Hawaiian theme, or was that the round before? Yeah. So.
Actually, I got a better one. It's got to be the Final Four game against Muscomacat, where we were down at the half and had to put that fight back, and me, you, and Keegan sat and watched. Forget what it was.
What was it?
That was the video that me, you, and JJ. Friday Night Lights.
I'll say it real quick. Before the championship game, I showed that to Finn and Coach Slater on the championship preview. We have a comment coming in. What was everyone's least favorite moment? That's an interesting one. Who wants to go first on that one? The least favorite moment.
I've already talked about it enough, but it was botching the call at the end of the Masconomic game. We did so well, and yeah, that was my least favorite for sure.
It's tough. I would probably say maybe only losing to Durfee, one of our toughest, one of our rivals right across the water. It was probably my least favorite moment.
I don't know. Least favorite moment is really tough to describe with this team. I mean, just about how much success they've had. But I think that Durfee game, I watched it online, and it was definitely could have gone either way. Somerset easily could have won that game as well if they made a 3 or whatever. So I'll probably go with that one. Otherwise, there's nothing really else to say. They were pretty much picture perfect. I mean, the Masconomic game, they faced a lot of adversity, which is something they haven't really faced much at all. So it was definitely, if there was anything to critique, it's that.
Yeah, no, I'd probably go the Durfee game because I think Somerset had maybe 5 points or whatever it was just in the first quarter. Now, they were down by 19 at one point. They got within 1 point, but Somerset joined that Skip Karam tournament out in Durfee, so that took away the 2 usual matchups that they would usually do, the home and the away against Durfee. And I would say if we're talking about non-conference, and maybe even including conference too, in terms of basketball, Durfee, I could say, is maybe their biggest rival in terms of basketball. It's a D1 school. They always put up a fight. Remember last year, the guy got kicked out of Somerset, and then Dom just went off for 4 threes in the fourth quarter or whatever it was. But that was kind of, I think, the wake-up call where it's like, we got to do better. That was not our best showing. We know we're better than that. And it was just a slow start because they got right back into it. Next thing I want to ask you, Matt, is it was kind of similar to what JJ was asking, like some of the favorite moments off camera. Now, we had some fun this year where you were usually behind the table. I'm surprised you didn't say the one against Bourne. You were hyping the double overtime one. You were hyping up the student section. They had the pie in the face that night. What did that say about the team as a whole? Like, I know Finn really did not want to do it at all, but what did that show about everybody and how they grew together as a team?
I would probably say just putting up the fight with Nate Reynolds, just putting up all those points, and then him getting in foul trouble at the end of the game, and him fouling out probably gave him a little bit of a boost. And then was that the game where Coach and Finn both got warned, almost got technicals, or was that the playoff game?
Well, I remember the playoff game against Masconomet. They totally missed a backcourt violation in the third, and that's when we had all the momentum in our way. I was on the Masco side. You guys were on the Somerset side. You guys' side was going absolutely berserk about that, but in the end, it didn't matter. So it is what it is. But I don't believe that was the game where it was almost.
Was it the Menachog game where the Menachog coach got warned, and then Slater got warned, and then Finn got warned, and we're all looking at each other, me and you, and I think it might have been, was Larry with us that game?
Well,
we were all looking at each other like, when is this ref gonna take control of the game and tee someone up?
Well, at that point, it doesn't matter if you tee somebody up or not, but I do remember that there were the warnings, and then Finn had that nasty catch on the lob, and then you guys lost your minds. That was probably my favorite call from you guys all season, with the alley-oop to Finn, and you were like, on his head, and then one of you two was like, oh, that was you.
Yeah, that was me.
Well, talk about, because like, I don't even know the last, maybe an Ethan Dias or Joe Nugent was the last guy who could have been slamming it down the whole time. This was a team, Carter, that we saw so many five-star plays.
Yeah, I mean, dunks, deep threes, whatever you want, alley-oops, whatever you want to call it. I mean, whatever they would do, it seems just always go in the bottom of the basket. But one of the impressive plays that I thought has not been spoken a lot was that play that Max Finlaw, that almost dunk he did in the final, when he pretty much almost jumped over and dunked it. He's a very fundamental player. You don't really see him use his athleticism like that before. And me and you, Keegan, were like almost jumping out of our seats just because of that.
No, I told you that. I said during the play, I don't know if I've ever seen him jump that. And he's not a guy to really go up high. He's more of like a mid-range guy, or maybe like an outside the paint bank shot, but that was crazy that he gave it a shot in his final game.
That just proves like how multi-dimensional this team is. I mean, it seems like every player can really do whatever they want on the court. They have every part of their game is just defined, and that's pretty much why they won.
Now, JJ, I'll kind of go off of that. Officially on the roster for the starting five, we talk about the main group, that would be Finlaw, Pacheco, Taylor, McDonald, Bjork. It's officially listed as 4 guards and a forward, but you've got so many combo players that they could play wherever, and they don't have to be scoring all the points. It's that hard work on defense, too, that really helped them out, and I think the double team, the pressure in the backcourt, that's what made them propel even higher.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Carter and I were calling the Final Four, and coming out of the half, it really just seemed like Somerset was all out of sorts, and it was nice to see how well they executed that full court press at the start of the second half. I just remember that first break we took, Carter. I was just looking at you and I was like, how are they doing so well with this full court press? Masconomet could not adapt to it, and they dominated them in that second half because of it. Yeah, it led to some fast break points here and there, but in the end, it was causing tons of turnovers, leading to a lot of baskets. It worked to perfection. And like you were saying, Keegan, that defensive mentality and that kind of, no guy is the star, everybody, gets involved, everybody does their job, approach. That's what really propelled them. It's what really put them over the top because, and Carter and I were talking about this on the way here, they were facing a team in Malden Catholic in the state championship that was just as talented as they were. There was no talent discrepancy, so that wasn't the issue. It was will, it was defensive grittiness, and it was the fact that they weren't selfish that won them that game. That's why they beat Malden Catholic. That's why the score that you see on the screen right now was as lopsided as it was. These teams were not any different in terms of skill or ability to win a state championship. It just happened to be that Somerset Berkley was a well-oiled machine that Bob Slater created.
Now, Matt, I know you're going to be with us probably at the table for most of the night. We're going to take another short break in a few minutes and then go to a different segment. I think you two remember from hockey season, the senior night. I usually like to end it off with our guests like an ATA, ask the announcer kind of thing. You can ask a question to all three of us. It could be a different question for each of us. No subject is an off subject, and if we don't know the answer, we'll make something up. So we'll go, you ask JJ first, then Carter, then me. You can ask us anything.
All right, so JJ, out of all the games you called this year, what was probably your most favorite one to call?
I would have to say the Minichog game. Like Keegan was saying it before, probably one of the best calls I've ever had in my career. I'm actually going to be making another reel to send to networks in a little bit, and that's going to be on there. Like, that game, the environment was incredible. Carter and I were hitting our notes in terms of broadcasting. We were in sync. Everything was working really well, and it was just a really fun night. I like that question, Matt, because, a lot of people would think that I'd say the Final Four, but I can't get over botching the end of it. I don't know how many times. Somebody should keep a tally in the comment section of how many times I bring up botching the call at the end of the Final Four game. That's 3, I think, now. Let's see how many more I do tonight.
So, Carter, I know you missed a couple of games because of basketball games because of hockey, but what do you say if probably your favorite moment was on the call?
My favorite moment on the call was, as a color guy, it's kind of tough for me to say as for a play-by-play guy, but that Minichog alley-oop was just nothing I've really seen for in my life, and then me screaming in the background was, as John said, was pretty priceless to hear after the fact. So that's probably my favorite.
And for you, Keegan, what would you probably say your favorite moment was between doing PA and announcing the away games?
No, that's a good question. I'll give one home, one away real quick. The home one is the double overtime against Warren, because you had Brendan McDonald getting those free throws at the end of regulation. You had Emery Robbins for Bourne hitting the overtime buzzer beater. You had the girls' basketball game going on at the same time. We were all watching it at the table, and that was to clinch a spot in the state tournament. And ultimately, they fell short in the play-in game, but first-year head coach. And hockey, I think, got a big win that night against New Bedford Vogue, the Valentine's Day game. I think it was 8-1 or whatever the result. Valentine's Day at Vogue for you guys.
Yeah, that was when Connor Montega scored his first career goal, I think.
Well, no, because I was on the call for that one. That was the one at Vogue. I think it was 8-1 still, though.
Yeah, it was at Vogue. It was very it was kind of a dreary day that day, wasn't it? It was raining and all that.
Yeah, so that's PA. If it's play-by-play, it's got to be the Pope Francis game. You and I, we had a 2-hour ride. We were partying all that. We went to Chili's afterwards. We were having the time of our lives. Shout out, I don't know if I could sponsor them on here, but shout out Chili's. They do a great job over in Somerset.
I'm honestly shocked that you didn't say your favorite call for PA is when Brendan McDonald hit the 2 free throws to hit 1,000 points.
That was a good one, too. That was another good moment, too. Matt, I want to thank you for joining us again. You're probably going to be staying at the table with us all evening. As Coach Lawrence coming over here to give us some merch. Shout out to you, Coach Lawrence. We're going to take another 2-minute break, and we'll be right back with our next segment on our live stream. Again, we'll be here at AGOROS until 8:30 tonight, so if you're in the area, make sure to stop on by. Stay tuned.
Their merch was 2 weeks ago. Because this is different than this is Actually, you're doing so good by not doing anything.
Why not? You're part of the team. You guys, I'll have the media people who special sign.
You want to sign while you're at the bottom? What's everything been going through? How is it? If you ever want to stop in and get a look behind, because we have a lot of new staff people coming in, feel free to come in. We'll let you in the press box.
Yeah, my daughter is here.
Okay.
I try to get like fresh news.
Yeah.
Then they she's at dance.
All right, everyone, welcome back on to our live stream. We're catching up with, I don't know about you guys, that was my first grade teacher. Shout out to Mrs. Clement, one of the best teachers I ever had. And we could talk about that real quick, like the teachers that we've all had. And I know, JJ, you're a teacher yourself now, too. They have provided so much to us in our past, even if it's just the littlest. They've all helped us to where we've gotten to now.
Yeah, I mean, you always have that one teacher in your life that it's just been just your favorite, just because of maybe how they treated you or how they just taught the class in general. Just like you were just actually interested in what they were teaching. I mean, obviously, we're not always interested in what teachers are teaching most of the time, right, John?
I mean, I've had some crazy teachers in my day myself. What's funny is the craziest one I had was the one who inspired me to become a teacher. He's definitely not watching this. He's probably doing something way more fun. But Mr. Green, he taught AP Psychology to me senior year when I was at Norton High School. went full on Robin Williams that year because he was on a hot streak. Kids had been getting 5s and 4s on the AP exams from his class for like the last 3 or 4 years, so he was just ad-libbing as he went. The guy was jumping around from desk cluster to desk cluster, standing on desks, screaming and yelling. He did whatever he could. He used to just get out a piano and just sing randomly. Sometimes he would like call out kids too. I remember one time a kid fell asleep in class, so he took out his piano and he started singing, I don't know what the name of the song is, but it's The Lion Sleeps Tonight. He just started singing that to a piano tune. So he was one of the ones that definitely inspired me.
We got some of our, yeah, just go right in front. We're not going to ask you anything. You could just wave to the camera. There's Max Finlaw, and there's Finn.
Oh my goodness.
Did you like the chant?
No. No, the chant is, I think we got to have some improvement on the.
Give me an Egan.
We got to have some chants for these guys right here, too.
Give me a Matty
Yeah. Now, we had a question, and they're all leaving right now. One of the people that was a part of it could have been the answer. A question that came in is, the starting 5 was close to the best in the state. If there was a 6-player award, who would you nominate? I think there's only 2 options you can choose from. It would either be Alex Crook or Jacob Laura, but JJ's on the other side disagreeing. What do you think, JJ?
It's Alex Crook without a single shred of a doubt. Let's just think about this rationally, Keegan. Okay, you're a basketball coach. I've been around the game for 10+ years. That Masconomic game, we needed to win. Who's the only guy who was on the floor other than the starting 5?
It was Alex, but hold on. Yeah, these players are going to watch this back, and they are not going to be too happy. It goes either way, because I say this. Alex Crook was their 6th man. That we're talking about a 6-player award. We're not talking about who is the 6th man. I look for more consistency all across offense and defense. But I think the way that Jacob came in at the beginning 4 or 5 games when Finn was hurt helped the team go 4-1. Because you got to remember, that Durfee loss was by 4. They didn't have Finn Bjork or Caven DeSantos. He worked his butt off out there. He could have done anything. And I think overall, I would take Jacob Laura, but that's not the negative to say about Alex Crook. And he's a multi-sport athlete. He's one hell of an athlete, but it's all about what you want for your basketball team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to agree with JJ. I think Alex Crook is my favorite, my 6-man player of the year award, but I'm going to give an honorable mention to, kind of like how you said, Jacob Lauro came in when Finn Bjork was hurt for those 5 games. Kellen Langlois also stepped up in those 5 games as well as really just a sharp shooter. We were doing the games early on, like the one against, New Bedford Volk. He was dropping the 3s, and it was honestly pretty impressive. I mean, he's definitely one of the most underrated players on this team just because of his shooting ability.
No, if there was an award for the best shooter, the best 3-point shooter, I think Kellen gets that, no doubt. I think it was almost 50% from 3 he shot this year. It's great, and I've seen him in warm-ups. It was before one of the playoff games. He made like 13 in a row from 3, and it looks so automatic, and it's like he puts no effort into it.
Yeah, for sure. I'd have to agree with you. I mean, the form is there. It looks fluid, and, a lot of times it ends up in the net. So, I mean, I actually would beg to assume that just in terms of clutchness, if we're talking clutchness over consistency, I'd say Dom Taylor's the 3-point shooter of the team. I mean, we can talk about that shot that you sent me a video of where I, fell back in my standing position. We can talk about any of the clutch 3s. He made many during the season. I would actually have to say I'd go with Dom on that one.
Carter, did you see the video of the one that I sent to JJ with him like almost falling out of his chair?
Carter had his arms up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll hand the mic to you. I'm not going to do it on camera, but I'll hand it to you real quick. So, when and then every single basket that Somerset scored in that Final Four game, we were 5 feet off to the side, and you were like, yeah, and then every single time. It was awesome. I'll take this. We're going to pull this up. I don't know if we're going to be able to share it on the computer, but yeah, we could. I'll show it to you guys. I got to figure. Oh, there it is, right here. So let's see. This is after the Taylor 3. Let's see. Where's Jade? There he goes, right backwards. Right into, it's like Kevin Harlan all over again with the Furman and Virginia. That was good. And I noticed that watching the full screen, too. I didn't notice that, like, zooming in on you guys. I was watching the whole game back, and I saw you guys right at the top of the screen. I thought that was incredible. And that just shows the emotions and the attachments that we had with this team.
Yeah, and you know, that's one of the things that, you know, I preach is important about being a sportscaster. You got to be invested in it. Like, I was invested in every single game that I called this year for this basketball team because I had heard the hype. I understood that they were on, you know, a warpath back to that Malden Catholic matchup. And, you know, it was so awesome just to be a part of, just in general.
And, yeah, I mean, as John said, they were pretty much on like a warpath. I want to go back to the player awards. We talked about like the best three-point shooter, the sixth man. I want to talk about the most improved player, which is honestly one of my favorite awards because I won it for hockey. But I'm going to have to go with best most improved player, probably Colten Pacheco. Not just because, yeah, he's one of the best players on this basketball team, but he significantly, his points per game went up, like statistically, he was the most improved player. So that's why I would go that direction.
Well, I remember, and I said, and he's right there, so he'll listen to some crap I have to talk about. Yeah, we're talking about most improved. I think you were on the list.
Most improved player.
I remember freshman year when I did the play-by-play, and you guys weren't really in the picture for basketball. I remember freshman year, I was getting so pissed off at you whenever you came in the game because I thought you were doing too much. You were trying to do the solo show. Then sophomore year came around. Him and Mason, that Sweet 16 against Canton, that changed everything. And then you kind of took Mason's spot in that starting five. Look at, and the Pope Francis Elite 8 game, you shined with 29 points. Talk about your improvement on the season while we have you here real quick, Colten.
Oh, my improvement is really just understanding how to play with all the guys because, like, everyone else on the team, they're really good with the ball, so I really had to learn how to play off the ball, and that's something, like, I'd never really done in my life. So I really just adapted to everyone else's play styles and really just performed when I needed to perform.
Well, we love you here. I know we're going to miss you next year. I wish we could have had you back for a senior season, but we wish you the best next year at your new school that you're going to be at. Go enjoy the rest of that. You got everybody coming up, getting autographs, taking pictures. You got to enjoy this because you're never going to forget this at any part of it, too. But that's a good talking point that we just had with Colten Pacheco. It's not just improvement from last year to this year. It's about 3 years at the varsity level.
Yeah, I mean, him and Don Taylor have been really just the two staples, one of the two staples of this basketball program, being the only two juniors to really have significant playing time at the varsity level for over 2 years. So it's definitely been impressive to watch the both of them progress in their careers, as I think Colten and Dom, even though they're going their separate ways, they're going to improve even more. And hopefully, maybe in a year or two, we'll see them at the college level and they're being shining stars there.
Well, I'm going to work my magic to try to get Dom to stay. I worked my magic to get Fitzy on the hockey co-op this year. I worked my magic on that one. But I know the question was kind of like a starting five, one of the best in the state. I know you know more of the people at Somerset. Give me your starting five next year, and this can include JV, freshman people. I want to hear what you think the starting five could be. Not what it should be, what it could be next year.
It's actually pretty funny because me and John were literally talking about this on the car right here, and it's really tough to tell because I don't think I've watched enough of the JV games, full JV games, to know who's coming up that's going to start. I'm just going to name the players that were returning that we know that's going to start. Caden Rayum is definitely be one that's going to start. People were very high on the JV. Aiden Dukran, they were very high on him. Carson Crisafoli, obviously if Dom returns, he'll obviously be a starter. And whoever, there's many players, you never know who's going to be a starting five. It's really hard to predict just because of the amount of talent coming up.
Do you see any freshmen that can make varsity next year?
To be honest, Keegan, I haven't watched enough really freshman basketball to know, but now that you've said that, I'm probably going to go back and watch just because you said that. And John, I want to hear your opinion on this because obviously we talked about it. Who's your next starting five for next year?
So considering we keep Taylor, I'm thinking at least Taylor at the 3 and then Rayoum at the 2. There's a lot of questions about, the forward position. So I'm actually afraid to start, making my opinions known when it comes to the JV players because I feel like I'm going to make myself sound like an idiot. But I can definitely see a nice dynamic duo going with Rayoum and Taylor because they both have been a part of this team, so they understand the mechanics and how to win and play winning basketball. So I could imagine it being, a very impressive, kind of 1-2 punch.
Now, I'm just trying to put it in my head because if we're going to do like positions, as we could see some of the players lining up for pictures right in front, but if it's me, and it's going to get quiet in here, so I'm not going to shout it. If we had to pick a starting 5 next year, this is what I'm going to go with. If he stays Dom Taylor, Chase Vaught, I'm putting him as a forward because he killed it for the freshman side this year. Chris Foley, Jackson Weber, he was another good freshman. And then I think if you're putting a center in there, I think you got to go Austin Veloso because I liked him when he was out there for the JV games. And I didn't recognize him. He's got a whole beard now. I didn't recognize him at all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Austin with his size, they're definitely going to be looking at him to be a starting center. It was just my concern with him is he's been riddled with injuries his whole high school career. He just kind of similar to Brody Phillips on the football team that they just haven't seen a lot of high school action really at all. So just especially for your senior season to get that big jump from JV to varsity and play consistent minutes, it's just very difficult.
I was actually talking to somebody for a second. I completely got sidetracked. What are we discussing?
Like some of the people who are on JV maybe could be, and we were talking about Veloso with like the injuries, stuff like that, how that could play a factor.
I always just try to stay out of the JV conversation because, again, Carter's the one who's, my culture guy. He's able to do most of that homework for me because he goes to the school. So, again, don't want to make myself sound stupid. Don't want to put myself in that situation. But I'm sure, Carter, there's a good amount of guys coming up from that JV team that could make this team very competitive next year.
I just got to worry about saying the names right. Like, we get Dukran on the team. I got to make sure don't say DeCaren or something like that. Because we've had some tricky ones in the past. We have had some tricky names in the past, but I think overall you're going to see a lot of these JV guys being caught because you have no other option. You're going to have 1 or 2 players coming back. And one of them was Caden Rayoum, who really didn't see much action. Now, he got a lot of time in the JV game. The JV games. That's some experience against the future competition, and some teams like Apponequet's losing a lot of players, Bourne's losing a lot of players, Seekonk's losing a lot of players, Old Rochester's losing their core at the top, but this SEC, it's going to be flipped all the way around. You don't even know who's going to be at the top. Do we have any predictions before we take another break? Do we have any SEC predictions for who might win it for boys basketball next year?
I mean, There's always a talk. Really, the SEC has, over the past couple of years, it's really SB or Old Rochester. That's always been the conversation. You never know. Old Rochester, even though they actually didn't they make the Final Four in Division 4? They made the state championship on a down year for them.
Lost by 1 shot.
The one they had a down year and still made the state championship. So definitely for next year, they're going to be dangerous as they usually are. And obviously for SB, we always expect them to do well.
Well, Old Rochester, I give you that, because Steve Cavallo is a tremendous coach over there. He's won Coach of the Year probably 2 or 3 times now. So he deserves that. He deserves his success. JJ, you got any SEC contenders you're looking at?
Yeah, I think it's based on just the overall skill that I've seen, not just, in the game, but in warm-ups from the players on all of these conference teams. I think we're probably looking at a 1-2 battle between SB and Old Rochester next year. It could be anybody's conference. Maybe you throw a Bourne in there because they have good player development down there as well, even though they're losing their 2 best, their 2 headlining guys. So I think it'll be that 1, 2, 3 at the top. It could be in any order, SB, Bourne, and Old Rochester.
No votes for DR in the room, huh? No votes for DR? But Bourne's another one, Coach Scott Ashworth, another great guy. And we see him more coming lately in the SEC. A lot of these athletic directors, I can name 2 or 3 right off the bat, they're the head coaches of the varsity boys basketball team. So they believe, and they've backed it up with good results. That I can name for you. Ashworth is definitely one, as they're getting a team picture right in there right now. So Cabuccio's another one at Apponequet. Apponequet's always been in the mix as well. But time will tell. In 7.5 months, it's going to be another fun season of Raider basketball. Let's take another short break. We'll see if we can get some more guests as the players finish up working and taking their pictures with the trophy. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. I was up at 6 o'clock this morning. I'm not used to that. I had a 45-minute drive for my final this morning. I'm done. Well, I gotta bring you guys first. No, I gotta bring it back to the time.
Now that's going to change. They're getting stronger. I'm getting
What else did I have in my life?
I still go. I have metal on every part of my body. I still go to the gym. I still go to the gym every day. That's my
Alright. Yeah, we're going to talk about like our experiences at the venues and stuff that we went to. Primarily UMass Boston. Ready? All right, everyone, welcome back in. We've got about 40 minutes left here that we're going to be at Agoro. So again, if you're in Somerset, Seekonk, Swansea, Berkley, local areas, you want to come on down, meet the champs, come on over to Agoros. I got to figure out the address. I think it's 2756 County Street. I'll confirm that real quick. Yeah, 2756 County Street in Somerset. We'll be here for about another 35-40 minutes. Again, people watching at home, the live chat box is open. If you want to leave JJ, Carter, and I some questions, we'll make sure to answer them. We're going to get into now our experiences really at the venues we were at. Carter, I'm going to start with you because we had the opportunity of a lifetime to call a game at UMass Lowell. I've never been there. You've probably been there for maybe some games in the past at all, but what was it like just being there and having that media pass, seeing behind the scenes when you walked in? What was it like just being a part of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really for a smaller Division I program. They have great facilities. I mean, that gymnasium or the arena, whatever you want to call it, even the elevators had like custom art of the players on it, which was pretty cool. But definitely just even UMass Boston, it was obviously a nice arena, but just the jump from UMass Boston, UMass Lowell, in just the quality of the arena was incredible. And definitely being in that press box was something special that I will definitely hold for the rest of my life.
Now, JJ, you're a big-time broadcaster. We know you've probably been to a lot of nice venues. UMass Boston, I don't think you were there last year for last year's Final Four, but you saw the crowd. You saw like what it meant to everybody and everybody filing in. What was your experience like there at UMB?
I mean, that was an awesome day. I mean, all around. I remember, if I remember correctly, I had to leave work a little bit early. My boss was nice enough to let me skip out a little bit early that day, and Carter and I made excellent timing coming up to Boston. I left a little bit early. Carter and I got on the road early. We were expecting traffic. We hit almost none. And we were in the city, 45, 50 minutes before the game started? Yeah, we did. I was just about to talk about that. We ended up going to Dave's Hot Chicken. I offered you some. I did offer you some. Ah, true. It's a good place, though. You gotta love it. One of my favorite spots.
Like, listen, we all know my love and like when we go to Chili's all the time. That's why I got my 5-piece chicken crispers and my double fries. But did we drive up, Matt? Did we drive up to that Final Four? Did you meet me there?
I met you
Yeah, that's right. Because I was the first one in that building, aside from the 2 people setting up everything. Last year I got there at 2:30. This year I got there at 2:50. That parking there is atrocious. You had to pay. Well, no, I didn't have to pay. They never ticketed me. Last year I got a ticket. And then this cop's walking away from my car, and I'm like, hey, what the hell are you doing? And then I had to go pay the $15. But over at UMass Boston, very nice facility. Matt, I'll ask you, since you're still here with us, we got the opportunity to go to TD Garden before the state championship game to call that Bishop Staying Girls Hockey Championship. Unfortunately, didn't work out in their favor. But again, just like all of us, you got behind the scenes. You got to see everything in terms of a media perspective at a big venue. What was it like doing that at the Garden?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Just getting to go up that elevator and get on the press level and see what it looks like, as if you're going into TD Garden for an NBA game, an NHL game, and like Andy Berkley, Judge Surratt, whoever the Celtics announcers are, Drew Carr, and get to see what they get to walk into every single day of their when the team plays at home. It was unbelievable.
Well, I posed this question during one of our, I think it was like the Final Four preview show or something like that with the team. I asked the players if there was a venue that you would have wanted to play at, which one would it be? I'll throw out a question to you two. What venue would you want to call a game at? Is there any like specific arena you would want to do a game at really badly?
I feel like that's an easy answer for me. Madison Square Garden. Whether it's a Rangers game or a Knicks game, the fans are on top of you in that arena. So I would love to be a part of that.
I think for me, I'm going to say one that I would love to broadcast and play at. I mean, if I want to play at an arena, it's TD Garden without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, as a hockey player, it's kind of been a dream of mine my whole life, and I've definitely... We interview you? Oh, come on.
Well, I'll say real quick, if it was back in the day, if it's still used for basketball, it would have been Oracle Arena, the old Warriors. That place got loud. You can come right over here. We're going to have our next guest interviewer, the best game clock operator in the state. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yoga teacher at Somerset, Miss Mollicone. Miss Mollicone, you were a part of the whole run too. What did it mean to have one of those very small roles? We all had small roles. What was it like having a part with this team?
Well, I've been doing the table for so long, so I knew this year was the year. The chemistry, just watching them progress year by year. It's just been such a great run, and it was so exciting. And especially our table. I mean, we had so many fun moments, like, oh my God, did you see that? Oh, look at that. It was just like every game, there was always something exciting, So it was really special. This is a really special group of kids, and I know everybody always says that, but in school, outside of school, they're just class acts, yeah.
Now, you're a teacher, you're an alumni of Somerset. I remember one of the things that you posted on, because you take like video clips at the table. You said the hardest part for you is to maintain consistency and don't be a fanboy. Now, I'm the biggest fanboy at that table because I'm slamming the table and throwing my hands up all the time. But what was your hardest part about that? Trying to keep it calm and hold your emotions together until afterwards.
Well, there's, different officials too. They don't like cheering. So when you're doing the score table, you have to be neutral, and, you would hear me every once in a while. Oh, yeah. But yeah.
I got one more question for you, and then we can go around the table and ask real quick. We got to talk about Sheila. She has been there for forever.
She couldn't make it. She unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, but yeah, she's been around Somerset. Everybody in Somerset knows Sheila Fitz. She's just amazing. She's awesome. Yep.
But she's one of the people, our whole table crew, we're getting state championship rings. I don't think there's maybe except for the coaches and the players, anybody else, I don't think there's anybody more deserving of one than her. I think over 25 years she's been at the, wasn't she there?
Well over 25 years.
Well, wasn't it when you were playing too? Like she used to do it?
Right after, I believe, I started playing basketball. When I graduated, she started, yes. But she's always been a coach, and yeah, I mean, she's put her time in. Definitely.
Yeah, we thank Sheila for everything. Hope she's back next year. I hope she's back next year.
She better be back.
And shout out to Mary and whoever helped out at the table as well this year. We'll each ask a question to Miss Mollicone. We know we usually like to ask our guests questions, so feel free to ask Miss Mollicone whatever you'd like, JJ.
So I would say, so first of all, I just want to make sure I heard correctly. You teach at SB, right? Yes. Okay, so as a fellow teacher, I want to ask you this. What was it like watching your students achieve something so great outside of the classroom? Because I know you and I, we get to interact with our kids all day long. We get to, I don't know how to put it, maybe pass on our knowledge to them of what we have. It must be nice to see them having success in other ways just outside of the classroom.
Yes, absolutely. And the way they give back to the community, I mean, look at this place. It's packed, so they've really brought some of the morale back at the school, because there's some games that you don't have a lot of fans, so it was just great to see, the fans, lots of them, parents, kids, little kids. It was just great. And what they do outside of basketball and outside of the school in the community, showing up and being a part of something big, so yeah.
And Miss Mollicone, Matt asked me this question as well. What was your favorite moment of the basketball season as the...
Hold on, I don't know. This is really... I think some of my favorite moments was actually traveling to some of the other games, because I could really get crazy and cheer on, I had my pom-poms. I was bringing pom-poms to the fans, yeah, it was really nice just to cheer them on and getting a reaction, and it was just great, yeah. Being a super fan, because I do. I love going to games. I try to make as many events at Somerset to be a part of, that's really important too as a teacher, to show up and cheer your kids on outside of the classroom, and it's great to see them in another scene.
Do you have a question you want to ask? No? A little microphone shy, that's okay. We'll do this as a final wrap-up question. You mentioned I loved your post whenever you did the pom-poms. It was like, I'm ready, here I get. When you were driving in the car.
No, I was a passenger.
I think she's trying not to get fired from this. No, but my question I want to ask is, you were there for every game, and it ended at UMass Lowell. That's like an 8,000-seat arena. It's definitely surreal for the players, the coaches that got to be part of it. Was there any sense of surrealness for you? Because we saw field hockey, they played at a college venue, and UMass Lowell is a college venue, but it's 4 times the size. Was there any sense of surrealness, oh my God, our high school is getting recognized in a top D1 college facility?
Yeah, absolutely. And just the energy when you walked into that place on how big it was, and, all the fans there supporting them. I've been to many different types of games, but the team energy, the coaches' energy, these coaches put in a lot of time, and it was really nice seeing George Austin there, having you there with the camera. I mean, it just made it such at a higher level than high school, having this. So it was great. And kudos to you and your crew.
Yeah, the crew, they get all of it. And I say the camera operator should get the most, because we don't go on without a camera person. I've said that time and time again. Miss Mollicone, thank you for another great season, for hopping on. Oh, yeah. Probably a couple senior nights down the road in the next few weeks. We're going to take another short break on our live stream. We've got our final 2 segments, about 25 minutes left here. Don't go anywhere. All right, everyone, welcome back in. Final 2 segments to go in our boys basketball champions night here at Agoros. Carter, you had an interesting topic that you wanted to talk about for the next few minutes. Let's hear it. What do you want to talk about?
So, Keegan, I wanted to express the alumni presence at the games. I mean, people who I never, even when I went to basketball games last year as a spectator, that I never saw there. There was not as many. Obviously, the crowds were significantly more in this year's playoff games than last year. But like our dads, me and JJ's dad, our grandfather, even my grandfather came out to the championship game, and he hadn't been to a game all year. So it's just the success has really brought back a lot of great names in the community just to come watch the greatness of the team. And it's just the fact that alumni who didn't even play basketball as well, like our family played hockey and they played football and golf. They never really played basketball, so just for them to come and watch and enjoy it as much as we are is really great.
Now, you talk about great names, great alumni. Sweet 16 and state championship, Tony Gaffney, professional basketball player that played at Somerset, was in attendance for both of those games. And having the quote-unquote legends of the sport back, JJ, that's going to have such a huge boost for the players and coaches that are on that court.
Oh, 100%, and I'm even thinking outside of that. Just let's think about the fact that this state championship just might inspire a whole new generation of basketball players, and Gaffney being there made it even more of a chance. Like, most of the people who are having children now know exactly who he is. They know that he's showing up because this is a high-profile team and a high-profile program. We could be looking at an era of domination on the way if we're able to continue with the development of our youth basketball players to the degree of what we're seeing in towns like Bourne.
And part of it, too, will eventually come the power of school choice. You see all the people showing up for, especially this year, all the people, the kids that showed up to the recreation night, the game against Fairhaven. I don't think Somerset made a 3 on that in that game. They put on a clinic and dominated Fairhaven. But the future of this program, if we're talking like 5-7 years down the line, you get the power of school choice, and this program is still very successful. Watch out, because you're going to have a lot of these great players coming to Somerset.
Yeah, not just basketball, too, just a lot of sports in general. I know our hockey team, we got a lot of school choice players who could have went to Diamond or to BP or any of these schools, and they decided to come to Somerset just because of the talent and the knowing of how good this program is. I mean, I talked with Connor Mantega before he came to Somerset, and he was so keen just because of the success we had and our coach and just the players on our team that he wanted to come here so bad that he wouldn't even apply to any other school. And same thing with like Cam McKenna, who was from Swansea. He could have went to Case and said he came to Somerset and played hockey, and he said he had a pretty good year last year, so it's a pretty good decision by him.
Now, JJ, you were at Norton for 2 years, correct? You were at Norton High for 2 years. You came to Somerset. Now, part of it might be because of where you live, but what changed for you when you started going to Somerset Berkley compared to Norton?
So being a part of the Somerset Berkley hockey team, for me, the only change about it was that I felt a lot more comfortable, because I went from playing for a school that had almost no guys on the team that I knew to a school where I grew up with 85% of the team. And it was just a great thing. You know, I was able to, spend time with my cousin by marriage, Matt Shea, spend a lot of time with him, got to, rekindle some friendships with guys like Ryan Afonso, who, I grew up playing hockey with, and him and I were buddies too. So, I mean, those types of things are, in my opinion, really important.
Now, we had another question come in. What would you say has been the biggest struggle broadcasting and what we did to overcome that? For me, I don't think there's any question. Definitely voice control, because I used to sound like a yodeler, like voice crack. I go, like all the time. It's just more about calming down. Don't get to, and I talk to you about this all the time, JJ. I don't like to get super overexcited unless I can control my voice. And I think, especially in the last 2 years, that's something that I've done a lot better to overcome that struggle.
Yeah, for sure, Keegan. I think for me, it's it's the small mental gaffes. I'm still working on that as I progress through my career. The stuff I was talking about earlier. There's number 5 for the tally keeper with the Final Four game at the end, but that's something that I'm just going to continue to keep working on. I've come up with a lot of different approaches to it. One of them just being, like you said, just kind of trying to control the emotions that you're feeling as you go through the game, because a lot of these sporting events can really bring emotional swings, and if you aren't able to keep it in check, you can sometimes make blunders, which is the situation I had put myself in.
I think for me, the biggest struggle I've had of broadcasting is not speaking too fast. I think sometimes you know what you're going to say before you even say it, and you're speaking so fast because you want to get it out. It's just about, as you said, Keegan, calming down and just trying to get your word out there, not trying to either bore the person or speak so fast that they can't even understand you.
That was another early problem that I had, talking way too fast. And listening back, I couldn't even understand half the stuff I was saying on the mic. Now, we've all seen and heard improvement from all of our broadcasts, but is there still something now that you still think could be improved on?
Yeah, I'm just going to go back to what I was saying before, the small little mistakes. I think, as I continue, I just need to make sure I'm hitting all those right notes. Like I said, I feel like that's my biggest, area of improvement, and I'm going to continue to work at it, as I'm sure all of you are.
Yeah, as John said, just the little mistakes. It's also just the little mistakes of not pausing for too long. Sometimes I tend to do that, which is, I get it, I'm new, and it's really tough just to jump into broadcasting and try and be so good at it. But I think as I progress, and for all of us, as we just keep doing more and more games, we're going to become more and more comfortable, and the broadcast will just sound and hear and just feel better when you're watching it or hearing it.
Now, I've got one I still struggle with, and it's something that you don't think about all the time, but it's definitely important. Stronger vocabulary. Like, I catch myself saying all the time, "I'll tell you what." And I catch Joey saying all the time, 100%. And then I catch you saying, "Yeah, I mean," and it's just simple fixes that we can all do, including myself. That's something that it's so little, but viewers will notice it. And if you change it, mix it up all the time, you're going to be so much better. And I still struggle with that as well. Yeah, what's going on over there?
My dad's here.
Oh boy. Where's he at? Yeah, we got to get him over here too. This is what happens, live coverage. Anything can happen. Don't forget, live last year during football season, I'm not going to name teams, but I had a coordinator for a football team come up to me and say, "You're the announcer, you don't know what's going on, just sit there, shut up, and be quiet." And it's like, I said good game to you guys. But I get it, it's whatever. Yeah, let's get our guest over. There he is, he's waving over here. I think he's on, yep, here he goes, he's walking over, you can see it on camera right now. The man, the myth, the legend, how's it going? How's it going? You got any questions you want to ask this guy over here?
So, Dad, obviously you didn't go to many of the games, but just me coming home and telling you that this basketball team's doing so well, I want you to describe the reactions you gave me when I told you that they blew out this team by 30 points.
Well, your mother and I were in Worcester at a comedy show, and we were at dinner. We actually watched the game on your guys' live stream while it was being played, so I knew exactly what was going on. Pretty amazing that this team, I think 20 out of 25 games, beat teams by 15 or more points. I mean, just dominating, Massachusetts basketball. It's great to see. I mean, it's great as an alumni of the school. Proud of all these kids, and proud of all you guys that come here, do the broadcast, commit your time. It's great to see.
Now, you just brought it up there, winning games by 10, 15 all the time. Consistency is a big thing, and if you consistently get big results against similar teams, you're going to do well. You're a former athlete way back in the day, 20, 25 years ago. How big is consistency at the high school level to get that success?
I think consistency is key. What I've noticed from the games that I watch from this team, whether it was at the school or on your live feeds, is they're a team. Some nights, some kids didn't score points, but they did what they needed to do. And the next night, they dropped 30 points. That's the key. And that's what it seems like what Bob Slater and his coaching staff brought to this program the last few years. It doesn't matter who scores. It doesn't matter. It matters what happens at the end. And I think a lot of programs, kids at this age and even at the adult age and professional don't understand that. And it's great to see that Bob Slater and his staff brought that to the program.
And Uncle Justin, I was waiting to ask you this question. You have witnessed some of the greatest athletic teams that this high school has ever seen. We can go back to the 90s, the fabulous Finns, Riku and Yanni. We could talk about any of those eras. Where do you think this current state championship team ranks among the best, teams in any sport in Somerset Berkley history?
I think they got to be ranked up top there pretty good for what I just talked about. They were a team. I think you can go back to our cousin Janie, who was a two-time, state champion for field hockey. Once again, it's all about team. It's all about everybody working together, no matter what you do that night or that game to win the game. And that's a great lesson for any team to learn. If every team can understand that, even a team that might not be as talented, if everybody comes together and does their job the Patriot way, it's very key to winning, and it's very key to not just, winning, but also just life. That's how life is as you get older. It's coming together as, co-workers and working together for a goal.
And I just want to touch upon, you talked about team play, and for our club hockey team, the Province Capitals, you really embedded in our brains is the system, the system of attacking. And this basketball team did something very similar with the full court press. How is implementing a system on a team really just improve the team better and improve chemistry?
Yeah, I think you and I have talked about this a lot at home. This team does exactly what I try to enforce with our hockey team of attacking, chemistry, coming together as a team. Like I said, it's important. It's important for no matter what team. So any teams out there listening to this broadcast, really pay attention to what these teams have done. This basketball team, our field hockey teams, the hockey team last year who made it to the Final Four. I mean, if you talk about that team, with all the injuries, with losing one of our top scorers the last game of the season, to see how that hockey team came together as players to make it to the Final Four, the farthest the hockey team has ever made. Once again, another team that kind of should get some credit. The kids just came together. You could see it. I know Keegan could probably see it when he was doing the broadcast last year for that hockey team. Same thing for this, basketball team. Same thing for the field hockey teams. The Bishop Staying Ice Hockey girls this year, they're part of Somerset. I saw them last year play against St. Mary's, state champions last year in a game in New Bedford. You and I were there. They lost like 4-1, 5-1, but I told all the parents, because I coached about 7 or 8 of those girls, they're gonna be one of the top teams in the state in the next few years. They made it to the finals, so it's all about coming together. It's all about being team, and like Bob Slater teaches this team, attacking, chemistry. Doesn't matter who scores the goals or scores the basket. It's all about getting the job done, and that's winning.
Now, I'll kind of ask this as like a final wrap-up, and I hate crossing sports, but I'm going to do it right here. What's something that we saw from this state championship basketball team that you would like to see in the hockey team next year to have maybe a similar level of success like we saw last year with the Final Four run?
You know, I think the big difference with both teams is, you know, the hockey team's a co-op. You're bringing in DRC Conk, you're bringing in some Swansea kids, and like this year, the very talented team, but they're not going to school every day together. They're not seeing each other in the halls. So it's a different dynamic for sure. I think, you know, Kevin Schneider, who's retiring this year, the next coach that takes over, is really going to focus on whatever they can do to really bring that co-op together. And it's not easy. You know, like I said, these kids are not going to school every day together. They're not hanging out with each other. So anything that coach next year can do to bring everybody together, you know, follow certain things here, like Carter talked about, attacking, having a good system, teamwork. It's not always about who's scoring. It's about just getting the job done. You know, sometimes your job may just be to go out there and make sure no goals happen. Sometimes your job may be to, hey, we need to get a few goals. So it's very key that, you know, kids in sports understand that, and that's, in my 11 years of coaching, that's what I try to teach Carter and his teammates over the years of, you know, it's not just about the points. There's a lot of other things you can do to contribute to make your team win.
Well, Mr. Silvia, we thank you for hopping on the mic. I'm sure these two especially appreciate everything you've done for them, broadcasting and playing career as well. We're going to take another short break, and we will be right back with our final segment of our live stream in about a minute and a half. Don't go anywhere. All right, Champions Night here at the AGOROS restaurant, about to wrap up. We got to end it off with two players, part of the starting five from one of the best teams in Somerset Berkley sports history. Glad to have Max Finlaw and Finn Bjork at the table with us. Guys, how's it going? What's it like just having this being put on?
You know, it's awesome. It's so cool to see, you know, everybody come out and support and like see all the little kids and see how much of an impact we made. It was awesome, and they were great all year. So it's awesome to just like be able to come here and like sign autographs for the kids and just give back. It's so much fun. I love it.
Yeah, I just love being here. It's great to see the support from the community and everything. We've kind of like gotten to know like these kids like throughout like last couple months. So we've seen them a couple of times, a couple of events. So it's we've really like created a relationship with them. It's really cool.
Now, we're going to try to keep this segment pretty quick because you guys still got school tomorrow, and you guys want to keep partying. We all want to do that. I'm going to start with you. You talked about the kids, like the familiarity of everybody coming here for all these events. This could be the future of the varsity basketball program.
Exactly.
What does it mean to see these players and maybe be their inspiration to be a varsity player?
I was actually just talking about this earlier. I was saying, you know, it means the world to me because it's awesome just to see, you know, how much we've like inspired them. And I was telling some kid earlier, I hope like 5 years from now they'll be doing the same thing with like signing for the other, like the little kids at that time. But it's awesome just for them to come up, be able to go to all the games, experience. You learn from watching, you learn from experience. And yeah, they're just getting ahead, and I think the SB basketball program's in really good hands, thanks to, you know, Coach Slater and like Sibba for getting like the rec nights and stuff going.
And it's been a common question all night tonight is, what's your favorite moment throughout the season? It could be your own play, or it could be one of your teammates' plays. So I'll start with you, Finn.
My favorite moment is probably a win against Pope Francis. We were pretty big underdogs. We drove a couple hours out there. We were supposed to go out there and lose, and we had a really big night and won by almost 30 points. So it was a big night for us.
I would say my favorite moment would have to be just the second half and the start of coming out at halftime against Masconomet. That whole turnaround, the energy that we had there, that was just phenomenal. It's something I'll never forget, and it was that has to be my favorite moment of the season. So.
Now, Finn, this was also brought up earlier. We got 10 seniors out of 13 on this varsity side. Colten Pacheco's not going to be back next year. We're going to be looking at a lot of these JV guys playing up on the varsity level. They've had really good results. They had the undefeated season 2 seasons ago, I believe. This program's going to be in good hands. What do you want to see from all those JV players, that translation over to varsity that maybe you saw when you went through that?
I think they're ready. I think they're ready to take the next step. I think they all play the game the right way. They all hustle. None of them are selfish, just like us. And I hope we're a good lesson for them to, you know, carry on the legacy.
And I just want to add one more thing before you guys go celebrate the rest of your night is, what are some words you want to say for future, as you were talking about the future generations, what are some just words of wisdom you give to the kids who are going to be in high school in the next 2-3 years?
I just say, just play like I just said, just play the game the right way. Don't be selfish. Just be a good teammate.
I would say, you know, just always keep your goals in mind. Always think about what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. You know, work hard, keep it up, keep up the good work, and you know, like don't ever listen to any of the doubters. You know, like our sophomore year, we were a 500 team. We lost in the first round. Nobody thought we'd really be good. The next year, we went out there, we got this like 4 seed and lost on a game like a last-second shot, and now look at us now, and we're champs. So I mean, don't listen to the critics, don't listen to anybody that's doubters, and just you know, just keep your group of guys close, and great things will happen. So.
Hey, last year we don't have to complain about that anymore if it was a foul or not. It was, but we've moved on past that. You guys know I like to end a little thing with like ask the announcer. Each of you are gonna ask Carter and I a question. So you get one for him, one for me. You get one for him, one for me. I'll start with you. You can ask Carter. We'll do Carter's first.
Okay.
No subject is taboo. Anything is on the table.
So I know you play hockey. What was your favorite moment from your hockey season, or anything from your career?
I mean, my favorite hockey moment had to be the game against West Springfield when we won 3-0. As you guys said, we were meant to go in there and lose, and we came out with a big result with a 3-0 win. So it was definitely a great experience, and I would definitely love to be a part of something like that again.
I'm just going to add real quick about that watch party you had for that game. That was pretty cool to see. I saw the things being posted on Twitter all the time. That was pretty cool.
Oh, so Carter, who was your favorite player on our team to watch this year? If you had to pick a favorite player. Not to put you on the spot or anything. I'm not going to be offended if you don't say me. I just want to know.
My favorite player, I mean, I've always been a type of person who likes players who are really good in their fundamentals and just finds open baskets, and I think my favorite player is Jude. You're really one of the best fundamental players I've seen, and you also you find high percentage shots and seem to always knock them down.
You don't want this guy going.
That's how that.
You don't want that.
I know he's a fan favorite.
Keegan, what's the next step for you? What are your plans after this year?
I know that question's been asked so many times, and I'm not going to go too much into it, but I'll say if you get a better offer, you're going to take it. you did the same thing too. You had an offer to go do another year, play high school ball. You took that offer. If I get a big offer, I'm jumping onto it. Right now, I have no commitments yet.
All right. So Keegan, I just want to know. Let me think. I got a good question. Hold on. I just lost it. So, if you had to pick your from this season, we'll go from this season. One particular favorite game or specific moment that you had to pick was your favorite from the whole season, what would it be?
What did I say earlier for that? Well, let's do one from PA and one for play-by-play. The PA was the double overtime against Bourne, and then you guys did the pie in the face. You were so miserable in that you did not want the pie in the face at all. You raised the least amount of money because they had like little faces. I don't know if you remember. They had faces of everybody in the cups, and unfortunately, you had the least amount of money. I mean, it's really hard not to pick the state championship. The Pope Francis game was really special, getting that big win. It was like a home crowd. And then you two shouting at me to go out there with the trophy. That was cool. Probably overall where I was the most happy, the most excited, the Masconomic game. The big comeback, you're never seeing that again.
I thought of one more question. Can I ask Carter one more question? So Carter, I know this is like your first time like doing like the calling the games and stuff. Is this like something you want to continue doing? And if so, like what was your favorite moment to call? And like I loved listening to the YouTube videos. I just want to say like you were so good like from the jump, but like your growth throughout the whole season was awesome to watch too, man. Like you did a great job with that. But are you gonna keep doing it? And what was your favorite moment?
And to answer that question, yes, I am gonna keep doing it. I definitely want to go to college for sports communications. That's definitely something kind of go and follow Keegan's footsteps. And my favorite moment, I've kind of discussed this really throughout the whole night, was that Leominster game was my favorite game you guys played all year, just because of the energy, and especially Osiris Lopez was a hot topic that night. So, and it was definitely one of my favorite moments ever.
I get another question from Finn because Max cheated and asked another. And then we're wrapping this thing up.
Okay. Let me think. What do you think is the most like important attribute a player can add to like a basketball team?
But from your team in general or just overall? It's teamwork and it's that team chemistry. Because you guys know I coached the Burgo League in the 7th and 8th grade during the summer. I'm not going to say I lost my team, but we definitely had issues with like communicating with each other, giving trust in one another. You guys had 5 guys that could score the ball. You had that trust. You guys could figure out, okay, this is who we want to do what. This is where you're going to go. You're going to guard who. You're going to shoot this. You're going to shoot that. If you get trust from everybody, consistency, teamwork, the fundamentals from everybody, you're going to succeed. And that's why you guys went 24-1 and 13-0 at home this year. We're going to wrap this up. There is a tradition that we always do at the post-game stuff, whatever the case. It's the barking like dogs. You're going to do this too. And she's very scared, but that's okay. Are you going to do it too, Matt?
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to do it so everybody in that other corner of the room can hear us. 1, 2, 3. Ooh! All right, thank you for joining us on the YouTube live stream. This was really fun. Pictures are probably going to be posted. This whole event's going to be on YouTube. Shout out to everybody. Keegan Hamblett signing off. We'll see you next time.